Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. I never understood the point of yelling at customer service representatives. I guess it's to try and intimidate them into getting what they want. I always find that being polite and friendly creates a better outcome. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Yell at me? No refund for you. Okay, so I work in a pretty popular online shopping store as a customer consultant/service, one that shall not be named. Now, this really happens to all of us almost daily, but this one I had just yesterday, and I think it's worth a share. Whenever someone orders something and doesn't get it or returns it, of course they'll get a refund. No matter how rude they are, it's their money after all. This one was a special case, though. CS, customer, me. A customer calls and I start with the basic, hello and welcome to blah, my name is blah, what can I do for you? And without even finishing the sentence, the CS goes yelling, why haven't I gotten my money back yet? It's been so long, yada yada yada. I'm used to these customers, but I get so angry every time. I keep my cool though, and I go to the order to check why he hasn't gotten his refund yet. While checking, I saw that he returned the item almost 3 weeks ago. It takes 1 week, seldom 2, to get a refund, and that this was the 4th time he called us about this. The colleagues always told him to wait and be patient and so on. I thought, okay, I'd also be a tad angry with this. But then while checking, I noticed that he paid with coupons. All right. Side note, coupons here are given either with special offers, buy 50 euros of this, get a €5 coupon. Either, usually, they be given to the customers from the customer service, us, as a way of apology or compensation when a package is delivered late or badly, or in general about other problems, and coupons can only be used one time and they're non-refundable, since they're considered as a discount for future orders. We also have a way of checking how it was given to them. I don't know why the colleagues kept telling him to wait. They either didn't see that it was a coupon or were avoiding confrontation. I informed the CS that he paid with coupons, and since they're for single uses, he will get no refund. I explain it pretty politely, and clearly, he doesn't understand. I tell him that since it's a coupon and it counts as a discount, the item is considered to be a gift of some sort. Since he technically did not pay for it, he won't get money from us. After a lot of explaining and him yelling at me the whole GD time, he probably ran out of excuses as I explained the gist of it, numerous times. He said something along the lines of, I have no idea what these even are. This is the first I've heard of a coupon. Bad move, bro. I checked to see how he got the coupons, and all of them were given to him from the customer service and were obligated to send a confirmation email each time, so I knew this was a straight-up lie. He just desperately wanted those 445 euros from us. I proceed to inform him of this and told him that I have numerous confirmation emails in front of me and I can gladly send them again for him to see. He pretends it's a misunderstanding and that he knows what the coupons are now. Sure. Thing is, I now notice that the CS was actually abusing the system, so to speak, as he'd call for extremely minor inconveniences and ask for a coupon from us as compensation for the trouble. Things like, why is this particular thing in your website so hard to find? The customer should have it easy. I demand compensation. We always leave notes after every call and say what the call was about, so I was reading the notes my colleagues left from previous calls. I was smelling a Karen, except it was a man. Anyways, I was getting tired of repeating the same thing, so basically told him that we can talk all day, but there's nothing I can do as the system won't allow it. Sure enough, that shuts him up, and we end the convo. Since he was abusing the system and customer service, I proceeded to report him to my superiors for this, which meant no more coupons anymore. And we were allowed to hang up if he wouldn't cooperate. Normally, the client has to hang up. We have this dumb disconnect rate that we have to take care of. Furthermore, I actually could make an exception and just put another coupon on his account on that same value, but he yelled at me all the time, so of course he wasn't getting it. The CS wouldn't know this, but I did, and it gave me a lot of satisfaction. Basically, whether we refunded the coupon or not was entirely our decision, and it was kind of an unwritten rule to refund it if the customer is nice and genuinely made a mistake / didn't see it, But if they're bitchy or Karen-y to us, we'd give them the good old, "I'm sorry, the system won't allow it." And our second story. I don't want to use my inheritance on my kids. I got pregnant right out of high school. I was lucky that the dad didn't run off and wanted to be in the child's life. He went to college while I stayed and worked at an office job. We continued to date throughout the whole thing and got married when he graduated from college. It took a while, but with our combined incomes, we can live a decent life. Middle class. I had 2 other children with him. All the kids are adults now, and 2 are in college while the others graduated. Each kid had a college fund of about $50,000. Well, my father died due to the pandemic, and in the will, I got a lot of money and property. If I sold the properties, I'd have enough to retire right now. I talked to my husband about it, and we decided to sell the properties. With the combined money, we were going to put 3/4 into our retirement fund and use the rest to explore the world and fund money. I've never left the USA before, and it's been a dream to see the world for such a long time. We're making plans to keep working until 2023 and then go explore the world for a whole year. We told our kids the plan, and they were upset that we weren't using the money to pay for their college/debt. Every kid has debt since the $50,000 didn't cover everything, so they had to take out loans. It turned into an argument, and I put my foot down and said no, and that I'm finally going to do what I want, that I sacrificed enough, and that I'm not giving up this dream again. My kids aren't happy, but my husband and I are. Edit. The kids are 26, 22, 21. I'm 44. And our last story. Stiff me on overtime? Cue the long, expensive revenge. This happened in the early 2000s when I joined a startup. We agreed on a salary and no paid overtime and an evaluation in 3 months and then annually. Standard stuff mostly. It was a very mediocre salary for the work, but I really liked work itself, which was extremely interesting and challenging. For me, even if the finances were so-so, I felt I'd learn a lot of skills which would be useful in the future. After 3 years and having 10 decent clients and a bunch of clients trailing and money rolling in, the talk turned to back pay and paid overtime plus compensating for past overtime. At that point, around $50K in OT had been accrued, which is a lot. Legally, it couldn't be back pay, so the talk was always of a discretionary bonus. Now at this point, everyone's okay with this, myself included. And this was discussed in writing via company emails too, so I felt secure and that no bad will was in play. I felt the company should be able to afford the payment. Equally, I'd happily settle for equity at a discount, which is legally possible there if cash flow was an issue. The discussions about back pay, possible equity, and now started to drag on, and I was getting irked by this. In the end, I was made an offer of equity, which meant the company valuation was far beyond anything reasonable, in the hundreds of millions, and I get a minuscule stake, less than 0.01% of a company with 9 employees and a projected annual turnover of around $2 million. It was a FU of sorts to stiff me out of money, and I didn't want to take that lying down. To say I was furious was an understatement. Anyway, the day he made that offer, I handed in my resignation. This sent the CTO into panic mode because the CEO had refused an updated contract, and I was still on a 1-month notice period, plus I had a lot of untaken paid leave. Basically, it meant I was walking out right then and there. So off I went that very same day, to the shock and surprise of everyone, I guess. The next day, I sent an official registered letter requesting my overtime/back pay and received a negative response, which I followed up with another detailed demand, and this was also rejected because the bonus was discretionary and there's no overtime. However, I'd been seeking legal advice and I understood that they don't have a leg to stand on if I'm willing to pay for an attorney. As the liability in such matters is firmly and 100% on the employer, I was willing. You need to understand that going to a lawyer was very rare in those parts back then, so companies didn't generally expect this outcome. Things have since changed. When going through the applicable laws with the attorney, I noticed there's a limitation of 7 years. So while my attorney was laying out what to do in order to get me my money in as little as a few weeks, I just asked him, what if we wait until it's 6 years and 11 months after the transgression and then file demanding interest? I wanted this because the law stated that back pay is due at 9% APR above the base rate, 3.25% at that time, accrued daily for every day past the due date. We're looking at 12.5 compound daily APR. The risk is that the company folds in that time, but I decided to take that risk. I sent one final letter stating that I expect all the owed and accrued amounts to date to be paid immediately. Of course, nothing happened. For the next few years, life rolled on. The company did grow and became a known player in the area. When the time came, I found an attorney and started the case. We had copies of all the communications, copies of the registered letters and responses. The back pay demanded now, including interest, was $112,000. What I didn't know was that in addition to this, there are fixed penalties for each instruction to perform uncompensated overtime. The total demand was something like $135K. To say that the CEO, who was still CEO, lost his crap would be an understatement. I got a very verbally abusive phone call, which I dutifully recorded, as it wasn't completely unexpected, and was added to the filing. The CEO fought, or tried to, but when the judge heard the phone call, he took an immediate dim view. Reading through all the communication just put more nails in the defense's coffin. The judge just ruled and instructed the company to pay immediately and without delay, and also ordered the company to pay all my legal costs. They also got a full audit from the Department of Labor. The company paid up a week later. To add insult to injury, the evening of the court's decision, the CEO apparently got very drunk and crashed his car into another vehicle while drunk. He got a DUI conviction and lost his driver's license for half a year, and his insurance refused to pay out for the damages to his vehicle, brand new Mercedes S-Class, as he was drunk. All in all, a glorious day. Beware the anger of a patient man indeed. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.